Frequency tables and percentage analysis in market research. We will learn how to use frequency tables and percentage analysis to understand survey, customer, and campaign data. These methods help marketers and analysts identify customer traits, product feedback, and market trends for decision making. You will practice creating, interpreting, and communicating frequency statistics that reveal what your customers think or do. By the end, you will be able to turn raw responses into useful, business-driven insights. Running the cell now. We import pandas for data wrangling and table operations. We import numpy for efficient numerical operations. We import openmul to fetch real-world datasets for market research. We import warnings to handle unnecessary warning messages in Jupyter. We disable warnings to keep our output clean. Running the cell now. Understanding survey and market data structure. Market research data often comes from customer surveys, campaign records, or feedback comments. Responses can be numerical, like rating scales, categorical, like yes or no, or text, like comments. Frequency tables summarize how often each response or group appears. Beginners often forget to handle missing values, mislabel columns, or misinterpret category meanings. Running the cell now. Before we look at code, remember, understanding the gender distribution can help businesses check if their service appeals equally to all. We load the customer satisfaction dataset from OpenML. We extract the data as a data frame. We count the number of customers by gender. We print the gender frequency table for review. We print the actual table so you can see the distribution. Running the cell now. This frequency table shows the distribution of survey respondents by gender, with 3,555 males and 3,488 females, indicating a fairly balanced sample. Notice how the value_counts function quickly summarizes categorical data, helping us understand the dataset's composition before deeper analysis. This step is crucial in market research to ensure demographic groups are properly represented and missing or miscoded entries are checked early. Try this. How does the customer gender distribution compare to your expectations for the business? Understanding contract type popularity gives us clues to which offers customers prefer. We count and calculate the percentage of each contract type in the dataset. We print the resulting percentage frequency table. We round the percentages to 2 decimal places for clarity. Running the cell now. This output shows the percentage distribution of different contract types within the customer survey data, highlighting that over half of customers have month-to-month contracts. Notice the clear ranking and that the percentages sum close to 100%, confirming the calculation is based on all valid contract responses. This demonstrates how frequency tables help summarize categorical data and reveal customer trends essential for market analysis. Churn tells us how many customers are leaving the service, a core KPI in retention. We create a frequency table that counts how many customers have churned or stayed. We print the churn table for direct review. We output the frequencies for both churned and loyal customers. Running the cell now. This frequency table shows the count of customers who have churned versus those who have not, with 5,174 labeled no and 1,869 labeled yes. Notice how the churn column is categorical, and this summary helps us quickly see the distribution of customer retention. This step is crucial for understanding market data structure and ensuring we correctly interpret survey or campaign results without missing or mislabeling categories. To understand gender-based loyalty, we can cross-tabulate gender and churn status. We create the cross-tabulation to show the relationship between gender and customer churn. We print the cross-tab table for analysis. We display the frequencies for each gender and churn category. Running the cell now. This cross-tabulation shows the count of customers by gender and whether they churned or not. Notice that both males and females have similar churn counts, but females have a slightly lower number of non-churners. This helps us understand the distribution of churn across genders, highlighting the importance of segmenting data to identify patterns in market behavior. Adding totals to our cross-tabulation helps spot overall trends quickly. We recreate the cross-tab, this time showing totals for each row and column. We print the cross-tab with totals, making it easier to interpret. We display the overall frequencies at the bottom and rightmost side. Running the cell now. This cross-tab shows the frequency of customer churn by gender, with totals added for each row and column. Notice that all the margins provide quick summaries. There are 7,043 customers in total, with more males, 3,555, than females, 3,488, and overall churn counts of 1869, yes, versus 5,174, no. Adding these margins helps us verify the data and understand distribution patterns at a glance, which is crucial when working with survey or market data. Knowing customers' preferred payment methods can guide how services and offers are structured. We calculate the percentage for each payment method used by customers. We print these percentages to highlight dominant payment behaviors. We round the output for quick business interpretation. Running the cell now. This output shows the percentage distribution of customers by payment method, helping us understand the most and least common ways people pay. Notice that electronic check is the leading method at 33.6%, with the others fairly evenly split around 22%. This frequency breakdown is key for interpreting categorical survey data and ensuring we accurately represent how subsets of customers are distributed across payment types. Test yourself, which payment method would you prioritize for a new marketing offer? NPS puts a number on loyalty, higher scores mean more promoters. We set the C to 42 for reproducibility. We create a synthetic dataset for NPS survey results. Each row is one customer. Each customer is assigned a random age. We assign each customer a region randomly. We assign each customer a score from 0 to 10. We count how often each NPS score appears in the data. We print this frequency to show where most responses cluster. Running the cell now. This frequency table shows how often each NPS score from 0 to 10 was given by 500 synthetic survey respondents. Notice the fairly even distribution across scores, which is typical of randomly generated data but contrasts with real surveys where certain scores might cluster. This helps illustrate how frequency tables summarize categorical or numerical responses to identify trends or data quality issues, key for market research analysis. Regional analysis tells us where outreach and satisfaction are highest or lowest. We calculate what percentage of customers come from each region. We print the regional percentages for business insight. We round to one decimal place for clarity. Running the cell now. This output shows the percentage distribution of survey respondents across 4 regions, with North having the largest share at nearly 30%. The code's intent was to highlight how to convert raw counts into meaningful proportions, helping us see the relative size of each group in the market data. Noticing these percentages is key for understanding where most feedback comes from and for tailoring regional strategies accordingly. Campaign success is measured by response rates. Frequency shows if offers are compelling. We load a real marketing campaign dataset from OpenML. We extract the data frame. We apply business-relevant column names. We count how many customers said yes or no to the campaign. We print the raw campaign response numbers. We display the count per response category. Running the cell now. This frequency table shows the counts of 2 response categories, 1 and 2, from a marketing campaign dataset, highlighting that category 1 far outnumbers category 2, indicating a strong majority response type. Noticing the imbalance is crucial for interpreting customer engagement and potential bias in survey data. This reinforces the lesson on summarizing categorical data and the importance of understanding category meanings in market research. Different education levels respond to marketing campaigns differently. We cross-tabulate education and campaign response. We create a normalized cross-tab to show, per education category, the percentage that responded yes or no. We print the percentage response rates by education. We round results for presentation. Running the cell now. This table shows the percentage distribution of campaign responses, coded 1 and 2, within each education level, highlighting response rate trends by group. Notice how the tertiary education group has a higher proportion of response, 2, 15%, compared to primary, 8.6%, suggesting education level may influence engagement. This output reinforces the importance of normalizing by row to compare response rates within categories, a key step in survey data analysis. Lead analysis helps reveal if certain marital and job groups are more likely to respond. We construct a multi-level frequency table grouped by marital status, job, and campaign response. We print the first 10 rows to avoid visual overload. We show the combined effect of demographics on response rates. Running the cell now. This multi-level frequency table breaks down campaign responses by both marital status and job, revealing nuanced patterns across these combined categories. Notice how the counts vary significantly, such as higher responses for divorce management versus divorce student, illustrating how layered demographic factors influence response distribution. This highlights the importance of cross-tabulating multiple variables to better understand customer segments in market data. Upgrade your skills, practice this approach with other combinations of customer factors. Trend analysis tells management which months respond best, key for campaign planning. We ensure month is a string for safe operations. We count the number of positive, yes, responses per month. We count total records per month. We compute the monthly percentage of positive campaign responses. We print the results to spot seasonal peaks. We round for clarity. Running the cell now. The output shows a series of NaN values for each month, indicating that the code did not find any yes responses to calculate percentages. This highlights a common issue in survey data handling, either missing or mismatched category labels, e.g., the response column might not contain yes exactly as spelled. It reminds us to carefully check data consistency and completeness before conducting trend analyses. Missing data can spoil summary statistics, always check for gaps. We count missing entries in the contract column. We print the total missing contract responses. If any are missing, we drop those records to prevent skewed analysis. We remove those records with missing contract values. We confirm the removal with a print statement. Running the cell now. The output shows there are no missing values in the contract column, which means the survey data for this attribute is complete. This confirms that no rows need to be removed or filled, helping ensure accurate frequency analysis of contract types without unintended data loss. Noticing 0 missing responses is key for validating data quality before further processing. Grouping by unique IDs instead of meaningful categories leads to meaningless results. We demonstrate the grouping error by using customer ID. We run the code to show that value underscore counts within a group of unique IDs is not helpful. We print just a few lines to show the confusion. If there is a problem, we catch and print the error for learning. Running the cell now. This error shows that the customer ID column is missing from the dataset, which causes the grouping to fail. It highlights a common beginner mistake, using incorrect or non-existent keys for grouping, which leads to runtime errors. Always check your data's columns before grouping to ensure correct key selection and avoid such issues. Pro tip: always review group keys to match your business question, not the data's technical structure. If we treat NPS as just a number, we miss its customer loyalty insights. We get the count of each raw NPS value. We bin the NPS scores into standard categories: detractors 0 to 6, passives 7 to 8, promoters 9 to 10. We calculate percentage per group. We print the percentages to clarify real-world impact. Running the cell now. This output shows the percentage breakdown of survey respondents across NPS categories after binning scores into detractors, passives, and promoters. Notice that a majority, 64.6%, fall into the detractor group, highlighting a potential issue with customer satisfaction. This connects to the lesson by emphasizing careful handling and interpretation of categorical bins and percentages in market survey data. Check, did you know that only scores of 9 to 10 count as true company promoters? Best practices in frequency analysis. Always segment your data by relevant business categories, such as gender, contract, region. Use cross-tabulations to reveal hidden patterns between multiple factors. Build simple indices like NPS for quick executive insights. Monitor trends over time to catch issues or opportunities early. Clean and document your categories. Accuracy here means accurate business guidance. Running the cell now. Segmentation by payment method can highlight which channels drive or lose customers. We group customer data by payment method and count churn status within each group. We print this matrix to see where churn is highest. Rows represent payment types, columns show churned stayed counts. Running the cell now. This output shows the count of customers who churned or stayed, segmented by payment method, highlighting clear differences in churn rates across groups. Notice how the electronic check segment has a notably higher number of churned customers, suggesting payment method impacts retention. This cross-tabulation helps us identify where to focus retention efforts, aligning with best practices in segmentation for actionable insights. Combining contract type and tenure bins lets management align offers with customer age segments. We create tenure bins for better comparison. We cross-tabulate contract by tenure group. We print and review which contracts retain customers longer. Running the cell now. This cross-tabulation breaks down customer counts by contract type and tenure segments, revealing clear retention patterns. Month-to-month contracts dominate short tenure, 0 to 12 months, while 2-year contracts have far more customers in the longest tenure, 60+ months. This segmentation highlights how contract length influences customer longevity, emphasizing the importance of segmenting data to uncover meaningful business insights on retention trends. Pause to interpret. Which contract keeps customers loyal longest? Can you tell from this cross-tab? End-to-end example, from survey data to actionable recommendation. Suppose marketing just ran a survey and wants to know which region has the highest promoter rate. We will analyze NPS survey data by region and report which region is most likely to recommend the company. Steps: categorize NPS responses, create a region breakdown, and highlight the top region for promoters. Running the cell now. Labeling, counting, and calculating promoter rates lets us give clear business advice. We add the NPS category to each customer. We count the number of promoters in each region. We count total responses per region. We calculate the percentage of promoters for each region. We find the region with the highest promoter rate. We print promoter rates to share findings. We print the name of the region with the highest rate for the business. Running the cell now. This output shows the promoter percentage for each region, calculated by dividing the number of promoters by the total survey respondents per region. Notice the West region stands out with the highest promoter rate at 21.4%, indicating it has the most enthusiastic customers likely to recommend the company. This direct comparison confirms which region marketing should focus on to leverage positive word of mouth. Imagine you are writing the executive insight. How would you communicate which region is the best for referrals? For more tips like these, subscribe to our YouTube channel.